Hi everyone, this is Patricia. Hoping you guys are having a good day. What you're about to listen to is a discussion about the BBC Radio 2's Ultimate Animated Movie Song Countdown with my special guest. Due to the fact that my special guest and I went really in depth with this discussion, we have to actually split it into two parts. Literally, as of the making of this, I'm up to number 33 in my editing. Another unfortunate thing that I had to do, if you're listening to this on YouTube, is that I had to omit the songs that we actually played during our discussions. In addition to us discussing in depth about the songs that were on the list, I actually did play clips of the songs that we were talking about. So, due to YouTube being, YouTube, and I would get a ton of copyright claims if I actually did play the podcast unedited, I had to actually, again, re-edit it for the YouTube version. So if you want to, once again, hear a more unedited, more concise, more in-depth, and more fuller experience of the discussion, then I highly recommend that you go check it out on the podcast feed. So in this episode, we'll be talking about songs 1 through 25, and then next week, we'll talk about songs numbers 26 through 50. I hope that you guys enjoyed the discussion, and we hope that you'll wait until next week for part 2. Old School Lane Casual Chats is brought to you by Old School Lane, producing various content from blogs, videos, and podcasts discussing about movies, TV shows, video games, and everything else in between since 2011. You can check out the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, Overcast, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and YouTube. We're associated with Channel Frederator, Manic Expression, The Comic Book Cast, and The Arun Mehta Show. Everyone, welcome to a new episode of Casual Chats. I am Patricia, and I am here with a very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Carlene Miranda, and I am Patty's younger sister.
So welcome to the show, Carlene. This is awesome that you finally have been able to join in after all this time.
Thank you. I know, you've been doing this for 10 years, and I think for a lot of those years we've talked about me joining you, but it just never happened.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things that happened, lives have been intertwining with various things, schedule changes, all that kind of stuff, so we never had the opportunity to sit down and be able to talk about our favorite topics.
Yeah, there's a bunch I think that we've put on the back burner to at some point talk about, but this is I think a fun one to start with.
Oh, absolutely, especially since I think you are probably more into this probably than I am. I mean, I like this particular topic, but you are all over this more than I am. So this will be really interesting to talk about.
I think I enjoy it and I like it, but I don't know if I would say all over. I think that there's probably a lot of your listeners that are experts and probably will know a ton more than I do. I just think anything, I enjoy it.
I would say that you listen to it more than I do.
Yes.
All right, so you're probably wondering, what are we referring to? We are referring to songs from animated movies, and specifically, the BBC Radio 2 announced a listener vote to find the ultimate animated movie song. According to the main DJ of BBC Radio 2, DJ OJ Borg, he had stated, "We all love watching animated films through our lives and enjoy the songs that have been in them. There are the songs that we loved when we were kids, and when we are grown up, we start to get our own children into them. It's just a joy every time you hear one. You realize you know every single word, and it brings back the childhood innocence, the joy of belting them out on car journeys with family and friends. But what is the greatest animated movie songs from the last 50 years?" And so they posted up a poll, and there are 50 songs on the list, and we're going to be looking through every single one of them and decide whether we personally think they deserve to be on the list, maybe personally for ourselves in terms of the lyrics, the context of the songs, the melody, and what impact it left on pop culture. Now, I'm just going to let you know that at least more than 80% of the songs here are from Disney, so we're going to be going through a lot of Disney songs, and stay comfortable.
And another thing we also noticed that all of the songs are as old as 1980s.
Yes, the oldest song on this list, spoiler alert by the way, is from 1988. So when DJ OJ Borg said from the last 50 years, it's a lie. There are no songs from the 70s on this list. So yeah, I'm sure that we'll probably do an honorable mentions podcast that maybe we'll talk about the songs that we personally would have added into this list had we been given the opportunity to choose them. But yeah, let's get started, shall we? So the first three we're going to be looking into are from Disney's 1994 film, The Lion King. So the first one is Circle of Life, and this is the Carmen Twilly and Lebo M version. That's the song that you hear in the opening of the movie. I think that this song is actually a really good start to the list.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think most millennials definitely grew up with Lion King, and you know, if you are on social media in any regard in the last couple of years, there's been like different memes and TikTok remakes of Scar and Mufasa. And
Rafiki holding up Simba.
Right, there's definitely a lot of, like, if you were mentioning earlier, like, pop culture references to this movie. And even in newer generations, the current generation, you see kind of that rebirth of Lion King.
Yeah, and I'm just pulling up the lyrics right here. So it does start off with Zulu lyrics, which is a dialect from Africa. And if you were to translate the lyrics from the first bit right before it goes over to singing in English, it translates to, "There comes a lion. Oh yes, it's a lion and his son." So that's how it translates to. And then over to the next part of the lyrics when it says, "The day we arrive on the planet and Journey stepped into the sun." So, yeah, I think that the song is perfect in terms of capturing the essence of what this movie is going to be about. The epic scope of the animals walking over to Pride Rock, and then the quiet moment in which when Rafiki is preparing Simba to show off to the animals that this is going to be the new king. It sets up so well, and it gets you really excited about the movie. In fact, this opening intro was actually the trailer of the movie when it first came out.
Yeah, it's very impactful, the music. And like you're saying, it's not, in my opinion, it's not only a good like description of what's to come in the movie, like it outlines it really well, but it's just powerful, the music and the sentiment it creates. You know, it really does make you feel like there is a circle of life and how everyone's intertwined and connected in some way.
It also plays in the beginning of the first act, in which when Mufasa is showing Simba about, you know, this is how everything is. When we die, the lions become the grass and the antelope eat the grass, and so we're all connected. So the song plays into the message of the movie.
And I think, you know, one of the things that you mentioned, and I believe that in order for music from animated movies to maybe transcend and be something that we hear and can put on our way to school, on our way to work, or just kind of enjoy on outside of the movie, is something that like it's impactful and it's bigger than itself. And I think this song definitely does that. It not only ties very well into the movie because it was created for the movie, right?
Yes.
But also it kind of moves past that, and it makes you feel like it's bigger than...
Yeah, this is definitely a song that you can listen on its own.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs here on this list, I would say you don't, because they're so intertwined with the movie, but this one does. So, yeah, some interesting facts about this movie is, the movie song, is that when they first revealed the plot synopsis of what the movie, how it was going to start off with, it was going to start off with something similar to Bambi, in which, like, all the animals were going to gather together and they were going to say, oh, look, the prince is born, kind of like how Bambi was starting off with, the prince of the forest is here, but they wanted it to be silent. And then they had the opening of this song right here, and the CEO of Disney at the time, Michael Eisner, said, wow, that song is so good. Make the rest of the movie like this. Mm-hmm. And so there was this big pressure about, like, wow, Circle of Life was so great. We need to kind of, like, see how we can be able to make the movie that epic. Yeah. And I don't know if you know about this as well, but this movie was being produced around the same time as Pocahontas. And Pocahontas was supposed to be, like, their massive A project, and The Lion King was supposed to be, like, a side project. And it's become a reverse now because Lion King made a lot of money. It was critically acclaimed with the Oscars. In fact, this song was even nominated for Best Original Song in the Oscars. But it lost to another song, which we'll get to in a minute.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so final thoughts. What did you...
I think you just mentioned something I thought was very interesting. It was almost, and, again, I'm not familiar with, but... like almost a chicken and the egg concept. So like the song came before the movie was fully complete.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that were happening in behind the scenes, and there were a lot of scenes that were actually cut. And one of them actually made it into the video game, where Simba, he has a much more longer, detailed journey about returning to the Pride Rocks. Right before it's like, okay, he goes to the Pride Rocks, he runs into the desert, he's there. So yeah, there was a lot of shuffling around, yeah. But yeah, overall, final thoughts. Do you think that this song should have been included in the list?
I definitely think it should be included in this list. And I know we were talking a little bit about, I think this list had like a top 10 or
yes.
a top...
Yeah, it had a top 10. And we will get to that in just a moment. We're going to talk about what the viewers and the listeners of BBC Radio 2 voted as their top 10. We'll get to that at the end of the show.
Yeah, and for sure, like, I think... not only does this song belong on the list, I would argue that it belongs on the top 10.
I argue it belongs in the top 3.
Yeah, okay.
No, I mean it. I think it's like one of the best songs ever in Disney. It's kind of a debate. I've actually been thinking about doing a podcast about this, but which Disney movie had the best soundtrack?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I've never done that podcast before.
I know that when we were talking kind of about this list before it was released, we were under the belief that probably this one would be their top number 1.
Yes.
Patty kind of already knows what
I just
chosen
know,
one.
Yeah, I just know who the winner is. I don't know the rest of them.
Yeah. She knows the winner. I don't know anything, so it'll be all shock to me, but we kind of put a little bit of a silent bet that this song would probably be number 1.
I thought this song was going to be number 1.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, spoilers, it's not.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, we'll see where it ranks. Who knows?
Okay.
All right, let's go over to number 2, and coming again from The Lion King, this is Hakuna Matata. This is the song that is right in the, toward the end of the second act, where you have Simba after he runs away from the Pride Lands, and he meets up with Timon and Pumbaa, and they teach him about Hakuna Matata, which means no worries, forget about your past, forget about everything that you learned about, just live off a carefree life. And I think that this song is very, very catchy. I remember that a lot of people were like really getting into it. This song became so popular, it became the opening theme song for the Timon and Pumbaa animated series.
Mm-hmm. Both these songs, although from The Lion King, evoke different emotions. So you have one that's like grandiose and it feels like literally like a sunrise, it feels like waking up and just empowering and encouraging and makes you feel big and small and it's enjoyable.
Yes.
And then you have kind of like the first song that you can like dance to and laugh to and jump around, and I can almost see little kids like dancing in the living room when the song comes on.
Yeah.
Because that probably was us, you know? So, Hakuna Matata is just fun and funny and enjoyable.
Yeah. Interesting fact about this. So, this song was originally going to be called Warthog Rhapsody. And Hans Zimmer, when he learned about that Hakuna Matata means carefree or no worries in Swahili, he said, I like it. I'm going to change the lyrics to that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think he did a good choice on that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Bare Necessities from Jungle Book. You know about how Baloo is singing to Mowgli about, like, you know, live the bare necessities, live a carefree life, don't worry about anything. So it kind of reminded me of that.
I also love, too, like, what a great message. Maybe for children, they're not, you know, it's missed on a child. It's just fun. As an adult, it's probably a good message to remember to be a little less, you know, bothered by not so in the small stuff.
I mean, although in context, it's kind of rough considering that they're telling him, hey, you should forget about the fact that you may or may not have killed your dad.
That's true, too, yeah. I think I never thought about it like that. If now that you're pointing it out, that is kind of like not an appropriate solution for his grief. But I think what I take away from that is kind of like there are some things you just can't change, and not to, you know, dwell on that, but to kind of leave space open for a different possibility.
I think that's what the intention was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so overall, I think that this song was really, really catchy. It's become memorable for a lot of people. And again, this was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song. But again, we'll get to that in a moment. So, yeah, do you think this song should have been on the list?
Yeah, I do think this song should have been on the list. I think when we were kind of talking through, not only did we kind of start collecting in our own minds what our tops would be,
yeah,
and what songs we really believe are the most impactful, the most enjoyable, the best written. I think also we talked about how, like, there's different class of
tiers,
like there's different tiers of music.
Yeah, so I guess we can get into that. So it's been really popular recently online that people have been doing tier lists. Like, you know, if it's a really, really good either movie or TV show or even food, they put it in the A tier. Or if it's really, really bad, then they put it either in like D tier or F tier. So I guess
it's just, and I think it's not so much to say like something's really good or something's really bad. I mean, yes, it does imply that, but more so it's like certain things should be compared amongst themselves because they're in that same league.
Absolutely.
Versus other things that, although, you know, it might be good or fine, it just, when you compare it to something of a different caliber, it just looks so bad. So, like, for instance, I know on this list we talked about that there's 80% Disney and then there's a sprinkling of other things. Although that's great, and, you know, we appreciate that. The problem, for me personally, the problem with some of the other songs or music that they included is they're just not A level or that top tier.
Yeah.
And so it feels really kind of bad to compare something like, you know, top tier A level to something that, in my opinion, might be D.
Yeah, especially if it's a movie that A, either came out recently, and we do kind of have a certain bias toward our childhood, that we grew up with a certain movie with certain songs, and B, that they were from movies that we've never seen before, and they have these songs on the list, which is actually a major case for, I would say, most of the non-Disney songs. But again, we'll get to that.
And another thing, too, I think one of the things we've noticed was when the song is written for the movie, there's just something about it that impacts you in a different way, you know? It doesn't feel like an afterthought, like, oh, this song's kind of cute or it sounds good, let's throw it in.
Yeah.
It's intentional and it's specific. And then, like what you mentioned, nostalgia is a real thing. Like, you know, a lot of us grew up when these movies were being released as children. And so we were those children dancing around in our living room, you know, asking our mom to play the movie for the 12th time, you know, in the week. Yeah. You know, and like
we're wearing out the VHS.
Right, exactly. So like there's something to be said with having that experience and like it being part of your childhood versus now where some of the music is not specific to the movie. And again, it doesn't have that nostalgia.
Right. If we're going to do tiers, I guess let's just put these two so far. So, Circle of Life, A tier.
Agree.
Hakuna Matata, B?
I'm still going to go with A.
Okay.
I'm still going to go with A. Obviously, I don't think it's at the same level as Circle of Life, but I would say for right now, maybe I'll change my mind. But
sure.
I think I'm okay with it still living in the A realm. Maybe like an A minus.
Sure, A minus. Let's do that. All right, so let's go over to our last song from The Lion King, and that is Can You Feel the Love Tonight? But here's a twist. This is the Elton John version, not the movie version. So I guess I should mention this, that in Circle of Life, and as well as some other songs on this list, there are two versions. One is the movie version, and then the other one is whichever celebrity or singer performed it. So yes, Circle of Life had the movie version. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Can You Feel the Love Tonight has the Elton John version, which makes a lot of sense because he co-wrote the song. So another thing that's interesting about this one and A Circle of Life, the lyrics are different. Not so much in Circle of Life. There are some things about it that are slightly different. But, Can You Feel the Love Tonight is very different with its lyrics. Like, it doesn't really stick to the message of what the scene is, where in the movie version, it's about Timon and Pumbaa are shocked that, Simba and Nala are back together, and then Simba is trying to contemplate about whether he should tell Nala about what he was doing with his past, and also Nala about wanting to know about what happened to Simba, and then getting them
very specific to their romance.
Exactly, yeah. Well, as here in the Elton John version, it's not. It's very different. I mean, it even starts off differently. It starts off with, there's a calm surrender to the rush of day, when the heat of a rolling wind can be turned away, an enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough of this restless warrior just to be with you. And can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we got this far. Can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best. So yeah, it's different.
Very different.
So yeah, we were actually listening to both of these songs back to back. And even the tone is different. Elton sings it very slow and very melancholic, while the movie version is a little bit more upbeat, but at the same time is very romantic. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is the song actually that had won the Oscar for Best Original Song.
I mean, I cannot speak into maybe the reasons behind why they made it so different, because I really don't know. I can only assume, and maybe their intention was to make it more mainstream and catch a larger audience. Yeah, because this song I have actually heard multiple times in, those radios that you play, like, songs from, like, the 80s and 90s kind of thing. I've heard this song multiple times on the radio. Yeah, and it really... I think they did a good job if that was their purpose and goal. Yeah. Because it does reach a different audience. And it is impactful and it's enjoyable. So do you think this song should have been on the list? Oh, for sure. I think so. Okay. Yeah. I think it should have been on the list. I really enjoy this song. I enjoy both versions of it. Mm-hmm. I think that for movie purposes, I do like the movie version better. I do too. What tier I would place it? I think I would place it, like, pretty high. I still think it's a B. I think it's a B, too. It's very high, very important to the movie, very important to the enjoyability of the movie. And I do think, like, we can see that it does have, like, a pop cultural influence. The song was remade or re-lyricked. I don't know, that's not a word. That's not a thing. Sure. Remastered or changed to fit a larger audience. Yes. So it definitely had that kind of interest. Mm-hmm. But I do think, personally, that it's a little bit... It's like our B team. Okay. All right, so we are done with The Lion King, and let's go over to our next animated film. We went from a classic Disney film to a more modern Disney film, and that is Moana. We're going to start off with How Far I'll Go. As we mentioned before, there's two different versions. One of them was sung by the actress from the movie, and the other one was sung by Canadian singer Elisa Cara for the soundtrack. So, I think that this is a great song that opens up the
the plot of Moana, where, you know, she was stuck in the island all her life with her family, and she wants to be able to explore what's out there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The song is well written. It's powerful. It's fun, and very enjoyable.
I love it.
Very great song.
Yeah. Interesting fact about this song was nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars, but unfortunately lost to City of Stars from La La Land. I have not seen La La Land.
I've seen La La Land, but I've tried to see it twice, and I just get lost. I just don't like the style in which it is filmed or written. I don't really, know the technical terms, but it's just personally not an enjoyable movie. Sure. I think the characters are fun and some of maybe the story line, but it just execution wise is not good for me.
That's fine. It did win the Grammy though, so that's nice. This is actually the first of many Disney properties that Lin-Manuel Miranda would be a part of, from Hamilton fame. And he would go off and do...
We love him.
Oh, yeah, we love him. We saw Hamilton in the stage, and we saw it on Disney+.
Yeah.
We love the music.
And we love him, too.
Yes. No relation, though.
That'd be really cool.
That would be cool if we were related to him.
Uncle Miranda.
Uncle Lin.
Uncle Lin. Even though I don't think would he be uncle? I feel like he's
no.
far from our age.
I think he's like 10 years older than us. I think he's 1980. So he's like around our age almost. Yeah. Like he's 6 years older than I am. So yeah, I wouldn't say uncle, more like cousin Lin.
Maybe cousin Lin.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I think Moana is great. Even though we were a little bit older in watching this movie.
Yeah.
This is kind of an interesting thing. I believe, this is my personal beliefs about this, but like, if you are a child of animation, you are an adult of animation.
Sure.
To different, varying degrees, of course.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, our parents maybe don't understand the interest we have, and they always call everything like cartoons or kid movies.
Yeah, that is a common thing for their generation.
Right, but since we were introduced to animation in a new way and an exciting way, where movies were coming out almost every year or every other year, and it was part of our growth and development, that as adults we can now enjoy and recognize good animation.
And also animated movies can be really smart in their storytelling.
And I think that's Moana. I think Moana, although geared for like a younger audience,
sure, I
think it reaches a larger older audience too, because it is so smart in its design.
Yeah, and also a lot of the people who worked on this movie had worked on previous Disney movies. Like the directors of Moana, they directed The Little Mermaid, they directed Hercules, they directed Treasure Planet. So,
and if you listen to those storylines, although animation can be for a lot of people maybe considered childlike or childish, the storylines are definitely not child.
I mean, if you remember, cartoons were not geared for children in the first place. Back in the 20s, they were for adults. They tackled in a lot of stuff like alcohol and drugs and that kind of stuff. They also played animated shorts in theaters before like you saw a movie. So this stuff wasn't geared towards children. It wasn't until like much later on in which it was, and that's where the stigma comes from. But that's for another time.
Right.
So, yes, I would say that I'm not sure how you... now, here's the thing. I'm not sure about your expertise on this topic, but my friend Chris and I, we've been talking about all the Disney films, but but hardcore Disney fans, I don't know who they are, but they like to divide...
Not me.
Disney fans like to combine all of the movies and divide it into 7 different eras. So the era that we grew up with, like Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and all those films, that's the Renaissance era. And the era that's going on right now is called the Revival era. So it's actually interesting about these two because a lot of people compare these two eras in which they have musical animated films and they're critically acclaimed and a lot of people gravitate to them just as much. But I guess it also depends on which generation that you grew up in. Like, for example, our niece grew up with the Revival era. I think Moana is one of her favorite films.
And now the new, the release of, what's that movie, Patty?
Which one?
The one she was always singing.
Oh, Encanto.
Encanto.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a moment.
Yeah, she's, her and and one of our cousins, our younger cousins, they just love to belt that out and sing that, especially obviously when it first came out. But
Oh, yeah, for sure. I remember when we were doing a game of Jackbox and we decided to name ourselves after Encanto characters.
yeah. But also she does kind of have like influences, not maybe as far back as us, but Stitch is kind of her favorite character, and that's a little bit before her time.
Yeah. So I think that overall, let's go back into the subject. So this song, How Far I'll Go, do you think that it should have been on the list?
I do. I agree. I think it should be on the list. I think it's a great message and just a good song. I will probably only not put it at the top of my list just because, again, I think that nostalgia plays a huge role, child development plays a huge role in my choice. So although I think it's beautifully crafted, wonderful song, and enjoyable movie, it probably wouldn't be at the top of my list, but definitely it holds its own, and it's well made, and it's a good song.
Would you put it in an A- tier or a B tier?
Some people maybe an A- or B sounds like a horrible grade because but to me that's almost a 9 out of 10 or an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which to me is really good.
Yeah.
So I would put it at maybe just that border between B and A.
Sure.
And it's only again because of it's missing for me personally that nostalgic piece where I can hear it and automatically go back to a simpler time, a more enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Because aside from that, it has all of the pieces that I think are important to make it really good.
Yeah, I think that had I grown up with this movie, I probably would have done it, but I actually on its own do like it, so I would personally put it on an A tier.
Okay. I would probably put it at the top of my B.
Sure.
Maybe at the bottom of the A.
Okay then.
Somewhere in there. I feel comfortable with that.
Okay. All right, let's go over to our next song. It's You're Welcome from Moana. This is the song where Maui sings the song about how he was able to grant humanity the sun and the waves and the land, and how, he's like, oh, you don't have to worry about that. You're welcome. I was able to do all this stuff for you. So this is kind of our introduction to the main additional side character that we're going to be following throughout the course of the movie. It's very catchy. It definitely has that essence of the Lin-Manuel Miranda rap moments in which he's talking about all the bouts of all the stuff that he's done. Mm-hmm. Very catchy and very well composed. I personally wouldn't put it above the other ones, but I still do like it.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. I definitely would not put it above a lot of what I would consider top tier or A level. And to me, it's a song that lives in the context and the space it should in the movie. I would not see myself putting on this song outside of that. And,
me neither.
And listening to it in the car or listening to it, at home and enjoying it.
Yeah.
To me, honestly, it's okay. It's funny because also The Rock is singing it in the movie.
Yeah, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, so you can, laugh at that and enjoy it. But to be quite honest, it's not one of my favorites. Not by a long shot.
Okay, then. So, what would you rank this?
I probably would would put this in the C category, top C. It's still enjoyable. It still makes sense. It's a passing grade. It's still good.
Sure.
But definitely not anything to write home about or something that,
Yeah, and especially since down on the list, we're going to be talking about another major side character that has songs, and we would probably rank that a little bit higher. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say probably low B, upper C for me.
Yeah.
Okay, last song from Moana, we have Shiny, which is the villain song. Mm-hmm. This is one of the very few villain songs that are on this list, and I'm surprised out of all the villain songs that could have been showcased on this list. Little Mermaid's Poor Unfortunate Souls, we have The Lion King's Be Prepared, Moana's Shiny.
It's just not that great.
It's not very good.
It's not good.
I'm sorry.
It's only catchy in the movie when you're watching it.
Yeah.
But after 30 seconds of it, personally, I'm wanting to skip through it.
Yeah, me too. I don't really like it. I mean, the whole point of the song is that you got introduced to the villain, Tamatoa, and the whole point of visiting him is that he has Maui's weapon on the back of his
turtle shell?
Yeah, well, he's a crab.
Okay, right, it's true.
Yeah, turtle shell.
I didn't even remember.
I don't even. Yeah, I would.
Crab,
yeah,
okay.
He's a crab. So, you would think that, oh man, it's a giant crab. It's going to be like this epic fight, like kind of like Hercules, in which you have to fight off against the Hydra or something like that. But no, he's a very flamboyant crab with a whole bunch of treasure and jewels on him.
He just seems more sneaky than scary or villainous. He just seems kind of like an opportunist. Mm-hmm. More so, like, he didn't invoke any fear or
and also
like that.
He's barely in the movie.
Exactly. So I almost feel like if we had that changed a little bit, that storyline, it might have been okay. Like, I don't know if we would have missed it so terribly if he wasn't showcased. Like,
yeah. I would put this in D.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think he needed a song and that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty slow at first, and then it tries building itself up by being very flamboyant about himself.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
Yeah. In fact, I actually read a list that it was considered to be one of the worst Disney songs of all time. So, yeah.
I don't know if I feel confident enough saying that.
Me neither.
I don't feel like I've heard enough Disney songs to know which are the worst or the ones that I rate the worst, but it definitely isn't. It's not in the same league as some of the songs we're talking about, and so therefore I'm with you. I would put it in a D. Yeah,
a very low D, not F.
No, F is kind of like I think there's maybe one or two on this list that we probably might put on F.
I have one song I'm going to put on an F tier, mostly not because it's bad, but because it doesn't even need to be on this list. It shouldn't even exist on this list.
Yeah. So I think that we can understand why maybe they put this song on this list, maybe. But not really.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think a D is pretty modest grade.
I'm going to give it like the benefit of the doubt that some people might say, oh, it's not that bad. But when you're comparing it to the other songs that are on this list, it's not even in the same category.
Agreed.
All right, next list. So, let's go over to the next bit of music, and this time we're going to be looking at the Beauty and the Beast songs. So, we're going to start things off with Be Our Guest.
What a strong way to start. You just love it.
Yeah. It's actually a great way to not only see the whimsy and the beauty of the Enchanted Castle, but it's also a way to welcome Belle into the castle after having been stuck in there because she decided to trade in her father's punishment. So it's a way of her feeling welcome. It's a way of her getting introduced to the other characters and what they do.
And like they've been dormant and sleeping and unhappy for a very long time. So like her being there like reanimates them and gives them something to do, and they're really excited and happy about that. So it's as much of a pleasure to entertain her, and they're showing that, they're as excited as she is to try all these new things. They're excited to provide this service for her. Yeah. But aside from that, it's just a fun and enjoyable experience,
For sure. Yeah, and I also really do enjoy the fact that Jerry Orbach was the one who performed the song. And, when I think of him, I think of, he's that main cop from Law and Order, or he's Baby's dad from Dirty Dancing. It's like, you don't expect him to be like a really great singer. But yeah, this song actually became, so good that it was actually nominated for an Oscar, but it lost to the song we're going to be talking about in just a moment. So it's a bit of a debate about which one out of the three we feel that should have been deserved, because out of all the songs from Beauty and the Beast, this is the one that's actually the most memorable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's a restaurant in Disney World that's named after it. A lot of people have made references in pop culture statements on it. There's a lot of memes of it. So we even saw in the Harmonic 3D show that they actually performed this songs. Remember the moment in which when Donald was getting the hat and there was a popping of the champagne, you actually smell the champagne coming out. Yeah, that was actually really good. So yeah, I would say personally for me, if I were to rank this, Ooh.
I think it definitely personally belongs in the A tier, you know, and it just has that, I don't know, like that interest to it. It's interesting, it's fun, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
It holds the test of time.
Yeah, and also you can listen to it on its own.
I agree.
Yeah, so A tier for me too. All right, so let's talk about the song from Beauty and the Beast that actually won the Oscar that year, and that is, well, Beauty and the Beast, or Tale as Old as Time as it's kind of called nowadays. But yeah, a really beautiful song performed wonderfully by Angela Lansbury. And also it's a pretty essential piece of what happens in the story, in which when Belle and the Beast have their first dinner and dance together. And also, you know, when it comes to animation wise, it was like the first that integrated the CG with the 2D. And also, another interesting fact from what I understood about the making of this song, they originally wanted to make it into like an 80s rock ballad. I'm not even joking. And Angela Lansbury hated it, and she's like, why do we have to do this?
Let's have it. Didn't. They slowed the tempo down, right?
Yeah, they slowed it a lot. They slowed it a lot down. In fact, there's a song that actually sounds like an 80s ballad that we're going to talk about in a moment that sounds awful and out of place. But anyway, yeah.
I also think, I don't really know, now that you're saying, like, this individual, I don't think she's a singer.
Angela Lansbury?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's performed on theater and on Broadway.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she has, like, maybe your typical voice.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
like your mainstream typical voice.
Sure.
But she brings this element, this quality to this song that it feels kind of like you were saying earlier, like this movie has an element of whimsical, and it also feels homely, you know, like part of the storyline is Belle kind of trying to find a space where she can feel herself and exist and feel comfortable. And in that song, there's a lot of things going on, but for me, I can't help but feel like it almost feels like a welcoming, and she feels very, like, that fact that her voice has this homely effect makes you feel like maybe Belle has found a space where she can finally feel comfortable and is at home.
Oh, yeah. And also, believe it or not, this song actually, gotten Celine Dion in the foot of music, because this was one of the first songs that she actually performed. So yeah, she actually was able to, I think this was around the same time in which she was releasing her solo album, because, she was from Canada and she was not well known in America at the time. So this was the movie that kind of like brought her into the mainstream, kind of similar to, it's kind of like similar to Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, I love that. Can't wait to get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a moment. So yeah, overall, beautifully done.
I think so.
A tier.
A tier for sure. I wouldn't necessarily put it like right at the top of my list, to be honest.
Me neither.
But I do think it definitely qualifies. It's well done enough, and I think beautiful is a term that you use, and I think it's so appropriate. It feels beautiful.
Absolutely. All right, final song from Beauty and the Beast, and that is Belle. It opens up the world to where the movie takes place.
Yeah. And I was telling Patty, it kind of gives me like a flashback to Sound of Music feel.
Yes. Where, it's like little town.
A French small town.
Yeah, it's like, I live in a French small town. The hills are alive with the sound of music.
Yeah, even in a part of that scene, she goes out into the hills.
Yes, she does. And then she sings like, I want adventure in the great wide somewhere.
Yeah, and I love that part. Honestly, that line in the song is probably my favorite. Because, I don't know, it's true. Like, she lives such a small life. And she's looking and desiring something so much bigger than her. Yeah,
I mean, we're talking about somebody who is very smart and sophisticated in a time in which when women were just seen as like, oh, you just take care of the children, you clean the house, you cook the meals, you don't do anything else.
Yeah, and I don't even think that she was asking to be like so extraordinary. She just wanted a bit more.
Yeah, unlike in the live action remake in which she wanted more than what she was given. She was an inventor and she taught girls how to read and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think that in the new live action they kind of gave that desire that she had a little more like tangible specifics.
Yes.
Versus in Belle it was a little more open. And I think that my takeaway from that is that she just wanted a life a little more above a humble living, for her life to have a little more purpose.
Yeah. It's actually funny because I remember watching an interview with Paige O'Hara, the voice of Belle, where she was talking about, like, you know, the main Disney princesses have their, like, big songs. Like, Ariel has Part of Your World, and, you know, Pocahontas has Just Around the Riverbend and Colors of the Wind. But Belle doesn't have, like, a major song by herself. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, beside the point, I would rank this, I would say it's probably not up there with, like, Be Our Guest, but it's almost close to Beauty and the Beast. I would say maybe high B tier?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with that as well. Like, I think it definitely has a high enough grade that it can feel comfortable and confident standing on its own.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say, like, you know what you're saying, like, I think the longevity, like, the ability for it to translate to multiple, I just feel like Be Our Guest kind of has a little extra oomph to it.
It does. And also, unlike Be Our Guest, Beauty and the Beast and Belle feel like they're stuck within the movie.
Yeah.
All right, then. Let's go over to the next set of songs. So we have, from Pocahontas, the first one is Colors of the Wind.
This is probably one of my favorites.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know where on my list, because I was trying to, you know, do some rating, and before you knew it, I didn't feel comfortable giving anything the number one spot.
Right.
But honestly, this one is probably one of the top 5 for me.
Sure.
I really love this song. I think you can throw all the beautiful, like, you know, attributes to it and it'll stick. You know, I think that it's beautiful, it's well composed, it's to the storyline, but I think it's bigger than that too. Like, kind of what we're talking about, like how in The Lion King there's a bigger message being conveyed. I feel the same thing in Pocahontas, and I think we all maybe know that, like, subconsciously, like, there's a larger message being portrayed about the reality of what life was and Native American issues, and but it's just something so beautiful about kind of, like, highlighting how we are connected to the earth.
Yes.
And how important it is to, you know, protect the earth and to be one with it and to view it as a living thing.
Yeah, and also, as you guys know, the music was written by Stephen Schwartz, who would go on to write Wicked, the musical. And also, he wrote music for Prince of Egypt, which we'll get to in just a moment. So, yeah, he does have this sense of bravado where he's able to, like, take themes and he's able to add it into the music, whether it be with, you know, Elphaba with Defying Gravity, or with Prince of Egypt, where you have to believe in your faith. And here, it's Colors of the Wind, where it's all about the connectivity between Native American and the white people, and about nature versus progression. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I love that because, you know, good music is not just about, like, oh, it's catchy or it's enjoyable.
Sure.
Like, if something that's composed has the ability to transcend and take you to a different space and convey a message that's impactful, then, you know, I think that's what music should do. That's really the realm that it should be in. And when we're looking at some of these songs, some of them are catchy and enjoyable, but they don't have the ability, like what you're saying, to convey a grander message. And I think this one does, and that's why, for me, it's in the top.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, and of course there's 2 versions of it. One sung by Judy Kuhn, who's, well, she's not the voice of Pocahontas, she's the singing voice of Pocahontas. But you have the Vanessa Williams version, which is also pretty good too. But still, the movie version is probably the best.
I think we agreed that we enjoyed the movie version the best.
Yes. Don't get me wrong, Vanessa Williams is an amazing singer, but she sings it a little more slowly, which makes a lot of sense because that's how Vanessa Williams sings. But the
passion and the impact you feel while you're watching
the tempo's higher. It has a slow and upbeat moment as well, so I think it really does fit. And lyric wise, I think it's also really good, where you have lines such as, you think you own whatever land you land on, the earth is just a dead thing you can claim, I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. So yeah, it actually does connect really well.
I agree.
How would you rank it?
I would put this in the A top tier for me.
Okay. I would put this in A, but just a slight bit low with Circle of Life and all the other ones. I mean, this is a really tough list.
Yeah.
All right. Last song from Pocahontas, Just Around the Riverbend.
I love Just Around the Riverbend. Again, it's kind of like, in some of these movies, what I love is they have like some music that has more of a serious tone.
Yeah. And
then some that are more playful and fun. And I think that something about the Riverbend has a little bit more of that playful and fun because it's a little bit of mystery. You know, she's kind of like in the crossroads and she's trying to choose between two paths. And one of them is more mysterious and one is more trekked out. And so that element of like mystery makes it more like maybe fun or playful.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it. I enjoy it. I think lyrically is very nice and all of that stuff. But I wouldn't maybe put it in the same tier as Colors of the Wind.
Sure.
I might put it like a high B.
I would put it in a mid B because there's a lot of other songs on this list that I feel are slightly better. All right, we are done with Pocahontas. Now we're going to go into Aladdin. So the first one is Prince Ali.
If we're talking about fun, that's a fun one.
I feel like this is what they were trying to do with Moana by giving Maui that fun song. They wanted him to be like really rambunctious and fun like the genie was.
I don't know, something has to be said for Robin Williams. Like, you just can't compare, like, I think that in every genre and every kind of like sphere or element, there is geniuses that exist in that space.
Yeah.
And you can, everyone's welcome to join, but again, like, you're not going to be kind of operating at the same level. And I think Dwayne Johnson or The Rock is funny in a lot of ways and he's enjoyable to watch. But to bring kind of that like juvenile, playful, like, I don't know, I couldn't even put into words to really describe how great Robin Williams was.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a tall task, tall order to kind of fill.
Yeah. I think it's really hard to say in terms of comparing the two, but I think that now, I like another song from Aladdin that has Robin Williams, but we'll get to that in a moment. But this is actually really nice. But unfortunately, it does stick to, like, this is part of the movie.
That's part of the movie, yeah. I wouldn't say that this song you can, transcends or has a space maybe outside of it.
No, it doesn't.
Most people. I think maybe a small select may enjoy it outside, but I think that it exists well in the context of the movie. Yeah. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
You like it. It's catchy, It gives Robin Williams a chance to shine in what he does best.
Right.
Something comical and fun.
Mm-hmm.
But music-wise, I think that it's a B for sure.
Yeah, I would say it's a B as well. All right, now let's go over to the other song from the Genie, and that's Friend Like Me.
Again, I feel the same. Kind of like those two songs, I feel the same about. Enjoyable, but it lives within the movie.
Yeah.
And, I would give it a solid to lower B.
Yeah.
Still good. But...
Yeah, I would put it a little bit higher than Prince Ali. The song was actually nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars, but it lost to the other song we're going to be talking about in just a moment. But yeah, I mean, it's a great introduction of the Genie, and it shows all the capabilities of his magic, and I think that this song works really, really well. So they were able to play around with the performance, and I think, B definitely sounds about right.
I think it's a solid score.
Yeah. Now we go to the last song from Aladdin, A Whole New World.
Yeah, and so now here, in my personal opinion, this one is in competition for the number one spot on the whole list.
Ooh, really?
For me. I was thinking a lot about it. I really love, like, the movie. I love Little Mermaid. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
I love Pocahontas.
Yes.
And I love Aladdin, too. But I personally always gravitated more to The Little Mermaid. I don't know why. I just really love it.
And there's a lot of good reasons for it.
Yeah. But to be quite honest, when we're talking about music, I probably would put A Whole New World at number one. I hate to commit, but I would probably put it at the top just for what it is.
Yeah, well, let me read off some interesting facts about this.
Yeah.
Won the Academy Award for Best Original Song, won the Golden Globe for Best Original Song, won Grammy for Song of the Year, and this is the only Disney song that has ever done this, And best song written specifically for a motion picture or television. So yeah, it's won a lot of stuff.
And I would say rightly so. Honestly, like, is it beautiful? Yes. Is it well written?
Yes.
Can you hear it in and outside of the movie?
Yes.
Does it go well with the storyline?
Yes.
You know, like, does it give you that whimsical yet magical feeling? Yes. Is it, you know, does it transcend a larger message?
Yes.
So, like, it just ticks all the boxes. And for me, that's why it's more than the movie, if you would. It's more than even, like, it would fall in my number one spot and rule out a movie I really love more just because it's so well done.
Yeah.
And it's just, it ticks all the boxes. It's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the first of the many songs that Tim Rice would write, you know, after the unfortunate passing of Howard Ashman. We watched the documentary of Howard Ashman together.
Yeah, me and Patty really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I think for me, because, you know, Patty is, she has, like, a touch of historian in her.
A little bit.
Yeah, so, like, whenever, you know, she likes the subject, she'll research it and really kind of get a better understanding for the people involved and the history of it and the story. Me, I'm not like that at all. If I like something, I like it, and if I don't know much more about it, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, she pushes me sometimes to know more, and so when we went through this documentary, it definitely gave me an insight into, like, how wonderful it is to create something that outlives you.
Yeah.
And how, like, much passion these individuals put into composing this music. It's not just about, hey, let's find a catchy tune, but they're creating masterpiece, and these masterpieces outlive them. And now we sit here and talk about it, and hundreds of thousands of people will talk about it for the next forever, you know?
Pretty much.
Because it's just, it has that element of, like, it doesn't age.
No.
You know?
Yeah. And also, there's two versions of it, you know, one from the movie, and then the other one, which is the one that, you know, you play on the radio, the one performed by Peebo Bryson and Regina Belle. I heard both of them. They're both pretty good, but the movie version just, again, has that beautiful, elevated passion into it. Well, the radio version is, again, a lot slower. It definitely feels like one of those 90s love ballads. So it's pretty slow. It's very romantic, yes, but it doesn't have the tempo that the movie version has. So again, I would just say listen to the movie version.
You can't go wrong. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we are done with Aladdin. So now we're going to go into Frozen. Oh my goodness, Frozen. When this movie conquered the world.
I know. And the thing is, since it was, like, we were a little bit older watching this, I think we can enjoy and appreciate a lot of the work behind it and the storyline, and it's great. Mm-hmm. But this is not part of our childhood development.
Not even close.
We're not interested in replaying these songs until...
Oh, no.
You know?
I remember when this movie became really popular, all the girls were, like, really into it. I think your best friend's daughter and her friends were, like they wanted to be Princess Elsa, and they just sang.
Yeah, you were either Elsa
or Anna.
And you had all these girls in costumes and...
Yeah. So let's talk about this, shall we? So, do you want to build a snowman? So, yeah, these songs were...
Sure.
Yes. Or, no. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Okay, bye.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting that Robert Lopez is one of the co-writers of these songs, when I know him best as the guy who co-wrote the music for Avenue Q. So, yeah, the same guy who wrote The Internet is for Porn wrote Do You Want to Build a Snowman and Let It Go. I always love bringing up that fact. Anyway, so it's actually interesting about Do You Want to Build a Snowman. I recently saw a video where they were talking about that they were debating on whether this song should stick into the movie, and so they removed it, then they put it back, and then they removed it, and then at the very last minute, they put it back.
Yeah, and I think they definitely did a good job in putting it back.
Yes.
I mean, I guess maybe sometimes you're not always confident that it's going to be a hit.
Right.
You know, maybe some you really confidently know, maybe not always.
Right.
It definitely was a hit, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, obviously not as big as...
Let It Go.
Right.
But we'll get to that.
Right, but the next big part of that movie was definitely the Want to Build a Snowman.
Yeah, I would say so. It's actually funny that
that character, though.
Yeah, it actually builds the character. It shows the montage of Elsa struggling with her powers. And remember, since Anna had no memory of being struck with the ice from Elsa when they were playing, so she wants to play with Elsa, and Elsa is staying away from Anna because she doesn't want her to get hurt again. So you have this whole montage of them when they were children, and then them when they were adults, and then the parents dying, and... well, we believe, but we'll get to Frozen 2. But yeah, I would say that this song was definitely needed. It kind of reminds me of the time in which when Beauty and the Beast released its 10th anniversary edition, and they put in some songs that were deleted from the original, and one of the songs was Human Again. And yeah, I would say that Human Again is okay, but it's definitely one of the lower ends of the music. Like, I could understand why they cut it, but, you know, there's some times in which a song is needed, and then there's some other times in which it's not.
Right. No, yeah, I definitely enjoy this song. It was good in the movie.
Yeah.
But
it's not a standalone, because, like, you know, what if you don't live in a place where there's snow?
No, I mean, it's just kind of like... it's a no. I would probably put it like at a C.
I would put C tier for me too. Like mid C.
Yeah, somewhere in the C's it lives.
Yeah. You live in Sealand. All right, now we can go over to everybody's favorite song when it came out, Let It Go.
It was everywhere.
Everywhere. Oh.
We didn't have, you know, like I think we felt really bad for parents. We didn't have children in our space, so we didn't have to, like, hear it in every car ride and hear it, you know, 17 times a day. But we still heard it way too much.
We did.
So I can only imagine those poor parents that had to struggle through that time.
And also, at the time, we lived in Florida. And every time that we would go to the Disney parks, we saw Frozen merchandise everywhere. And they would play the song everywhere.
Yeah, it really had its day in the light.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so knowing that song was played to death, let's remove our biases to how often we heard it, and let's just talk about it on its own.
That's gonna be hard.
I know it's gonna be hard.
I mean, obviously, it's pinnacle. It's important to the movie.
Yeah.
It's empowering. It's well done. It's enjoyable. It's nice. It's good.
Yeah.
I would give it a B.
Okay.
A high B. I mean, somewhere in the high mid B. Like, it's really good. Mm-hmm. But again, like, this is probably an unfair way to rate it. And forgive me, but I guess this is my opinion. So
you're fine.
But it's missing that piece of nostalgia.
Yeah.
And therefore, like, because of that, it can only ever climb so high.
Sure.
If it's integral to my development, then it will get the highest grade.
Okay.
So it's good, but I'm not going to be playing that. Like, and I kid you not, like, even though I'm not a huge Disney buff, like, I really enjoy Disney movies. I really enjoy all this music.
Yeah.
And I do actually listen to some of this music outside of the movies. Sometimes I'll play certain songs if I'm in the mood.
Yeah, like...
this will not be it.
No, definitely not. We actually do have Disney playlists on our Spotify account. And this is not in there.
Yeah, I would not.
Yeah, sorry. So.
And I would probably let it play for a couple of seconds.
And then I'll be done.
Change it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for the original Frozen. Let's go to Frozen 2.
Let's only stay a little while in Frozen 2.
Okay, I guess we don't really have that much to say. So let's go over to...
No, I mean, there's something to be said. I think that, like all things, I think they did a good job choosing music that fits the movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But there's one song on the list that I felt shouldn't have been there.
From Frozen 2?
Yes. But let's get into it. So the first one is Into the Unknown. So this is kind of like... they're trying to strike lightning while the iron is hot with Let It Go. So this is kind of like the big song for Elsa.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't the same. It didn't have the same impact as Let It Go.
No.
It's still pretty okay.
I I actually, if you want to see a version that was actually really good, the Oscars did this really nice segment where they had all the Elsas from around the world alongside with Idina Menzel performing Into the Unknown. It's actually really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like that version.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't really have too much to say about it because I enjoyed the movie, I enjoyed the music, but I kind of like, that's it for me.
I mean, I would kind of like rank it slightly below Let It Go, but only because it's still new and it hasn't been played a billion times in my head. So yeah, I would say it's a B, but a low B. I hate this song so much.
And I don't even really remember it too much. Like,
okay, so the context of this is that it's basically the side plot in the movie where Kristoff is supposed to propose to Anna. And then you have this whole segment where he's singing about that, without her, that he feels lost or something. It sounds like an 80s ballad. It sounds so out of place. I don't like it.
Yeah, like I haven't even put it to memory. Like, I've seen the movie twice, so I've heard it. And then we went through this, and I heard it again, and it's gone from my memory.
Yeah.
So, like, that just shows you how much I want to put that as part of my... It doesn't stick.
It's a D. It's a low D. It's almost as bad as Shiny.
Wow. So that's saying much.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm sorry.
And I don't remember enough to tell you. Okay. So that shows you how memorable it stuck to me.
All right, then. Let's go over to the next bit. So this is our first song from Pixar. So we're going to go into Monsters, Inc., If I Didn't Have You.
Yeah, and we love Monsters, Inc.
Yes.
We love the story. We love the movie. But for me, like, me and Patty were also talking about, like, there's some movies you watch... And it's not about the music for you.
No, it's not.
Some movies, like, the music is such a huge piece that it is interwoven and you couldn't even imagine one without the other kind of thing. But some movies are just, they stand alone without music. And I think they did that purposely because a lot of times there isn't very much music in the movie. And so Monsters, Inc. is one of that for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think of music when I think of Monsters, Inc.
Me neither.
I think of the characters. Yes. I think of the story. Mm-hmm. I think of the relationship between Mike and Sully. I think of the relationship between Mike and Boo.
I think of all the years we all waited for Monsters, Inc. 2 to come to find out what happened to Boo.
I would love that.
And we're still waiting?
Yes, we're still waiting. Monsters at Work Season 2, please answer that question.
Well, where is Boo and what happened? And,
exactly. Exactly. Please let us know. Anyway, but we digress. So, yeah, it plays at the end credits.
Right, and I think that's another thing to be we want to be mindful of. Like, when you are evaluating music, like, if something is presented at the forefront, it's because you're giving it the space it needs, the notoriety, like, you're giving it the attention it needs. And then that's how I receive it too. Like, if I'm going somewhere and you keep all of the stuff you're selling at the front and, on a show, on a shelf, my eyes go there. You're telling me this is important, to you. But if you keep something in the back closet, you know what I mean? Behind backlighting, dark lighting, like, isn't as important to you. Not that it's an afterthought, but a lot of, like, the music that is only in the credits, you're pretty much, that time people are getting up and turning off the movie or you know what I mean? Like, getting out of the theater or something like that.
The only time in which I would stick around to watch this are the bloopers. Because back then, Pixar used to have bloopers with their movies. Yeah. And it was only this, A Bug's Life, and Toy Story 2, in which they had bloopers. After that, they stopped doing bloopers. So that's the only time in which I would, like, stick around and watch the end credits. And then after that, I would just be like, okay, it's over. And then I just shut it off. Now, don't get me wrong. The song is good. The song is good. It actually has Billy Crystal and John Goodman singing as their respectful characters.
And we love Billy Crystal and John Goodman.
They're great.
They're great actors.
Yeah, Billy Crystal is a hilarious comedian.
He's hilarious. I've loved him forever.
Yeah.
He's in one of my favorite movies.
When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And John Goodman is also an amazing actor, too. Like, there's a ton of things that he's done.
A ton.
He was in Roseanne, Coyote Ugly, ton of things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they do a really good job singing the song, and, the song is about their friendship, which is around the movie.
Yeah.
But, again, because it's at the end credits, it doesn't really stick with you compared to, like... if you were to listen to it maybe at the beginning of the movie, or if you were to listen to
or
it...
the character spends 3 minutes singing about it. Like, it's just...
but except that Monsters, Inc. is not a musical, so
Right.
yeah. Anyway, so how would I rank this? I would put this in a high C.
I would put it in the C category as well. I think it's good, it's nice, but again, nothing to write home about.
All right, Little Mermaid's next.
Yeah, my favorite.
All right, so let's go over to Under the Sea.
I think for most of the songs in Little Mermaid, they're probably top tier for me.
I mean, this is the first collaboration between Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, so yeah, match made in heaven.
Yeah, I love Under the Sea.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and Samuel E. Wright does an amazing job with singing the song, just making the sea inviting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks so great with the colors and the fish singing
And
and dancing.
you're almost like, maybe it would be good to live under the sea. Like,
Yeah.
life is so much better down there, you know?
Yeah, it's cooler, and it's not hot, and it's light and fun. It's not boring. So, yes, please
And
let me...
Sebastian, like, you gotta love Sebastian.
I love Sebastian. He's like one of my favorite side characters in a Disney movie.
Yeah, I agree. No, I love Under the Sea. Again, like, when we're talking about ticking boxes, it ticks a lot of boxes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. And I don't know it's so strange why I love Little Mermaid, because I don't even necessarily think it's my favorite storyline.
Is Ariel your favorite Disney princess?
Maybe that's what it is. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really thought why, but I really enjoy the movie.
Is the movie part of is it your favorite Disney soundtrack?
I don't even think so.
Okay.
I don't know. I like it. And that song definitely helps it, for sure. I love that one.
Okay. So...
It's A for me.
I would say it's A as well, because it's so great. And, you have... I think this is, like, the first major song in the movie, other than, like, that opening song where the pirates, or not the pirates, like, Prince Eric's men are just singing about, like, looking around at the ocean and stuff like that. So you have that bit, and then you have also the little bit with the daughter singing for King Triton. And then after that, you have like the little music that's playing in the background of Eric's birthday party. But this is like the first big major song.
Like the first major song of the movie.
It is the first major song in the movie. And also an interesting thing is that this song actually won for Best Original Song in the Oscars. And the movie won for Best Original Score. So kind of interesting that this is the song that won it and not the other major song. But
right, the other major song is probably my favorite of the movie.
Yeah, I would say that too. It kind of like in the reverse, in which like... even though Can You Feel the Love Tonight, it was the one that won the Oscar, but Circle of Life was really good.
Yeah.
So this is
and like, I know we moved past Lion King.
Yeah.
But like, there's something to be said that it continues to be remade, and there's like a Broadway, like there's shows all over. Like,
yes.
When something is that good, people want to experience it in as many possible ways as they
speaking
can.
of which, the new trailer for the Little Mermaid movie I saw it too.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I'm kind of interested to see what they're gonna do. I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued.
And Halle Bailey is Ariel.
Mm-hmm. I only know her from I've watched the show like Grownish, and what's the other one? The one where she goes off to college. I forgot what. Maybe it is that one's called. Blackish and Grownish.
Yes.
I think. Okay, so I've seen a little bit of Blackish and I've seen a little bit of Grownish, so I know that she's a character in Grownish.
Yes.
I didn't see enough of the show to like really understand her character and commit or anything like that. I've only seen a handful of episodes.
Right.
So I know she's introduced there. I know that that she is kind of making like a big splash, if you would, because
it's an ABC property and ABC is under Disney.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think sometimes for me, when they choose characters that don't always line up with what my idea is, sometimes it takes a little bit for my head to be like wrapped around it.
Fair enough.
But I am interested to see if she does well in the character.
She sounded really nice.
Yeah, her voice sounded beautiful, and yeah, I'm interested in giving it a go.
Sure. I'm actually more curious about Melissa McCarthy as Ursula.
I don't think I saw that part of the trailer.
It's not. They just announced it.
Okay.
They just only showed that today.
Oh, okay.
Because D23 is happening as of the recording of this podcast. Anyway, so all right. So yeah, I would say that this is definitely an A-tier song. One of the best.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, now we can go over to the other song from Little Mermaid, which is Kiss the Girl.
I like it too. This one, I kind of like what we were saying for some of the other songs. Like, it's good for the movie, it's enjoyable. I like it enough that I would hear it outside of the movie. Okay. But does it have like a huge influence outside of the movie? I wouldn't think so.
I mean, especially when you have like, some scenes where it was like, there she wanders, sitting there across the lake. She don't got a lot to say, but there's something about her. It's like...
I like it. I'm not going to lie. I do like that song, and I like this part of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very important part of the movie, because this is supposed to be where Ariel's trying to get a kiss
The main mission.
Yeah, the main mission is to get a kiss from Prince Eric in 3 days, so that she can be able to get her legs and
her voice and,
all that stuff, yeah.
I think I like it. It's good in the movie. I would even, like I said, listen to it outside, but it's not my go-to, and I think it's in the B category, like somewhere like...
I would say lower B.
I would say lower B for me, too. Okay. Even though I really like it and enjoy it, when you compare it to some of the others, it's just...
Yeah. All right, now we can go to the big one from Little Mermaid. Part of Your World.
That's one of my top 3. Yeah. Top 5. Maybe top 3 seems kind of hard to choose. I would say my top 5.
Okay. Yeah. So I wish this song would have won the Oscar, because it's the song that everybody knows about. Jodie Benson still performs this song even long after the movie. I've seen, did you see the video about like, that there was a wedding happening and the groom invited Jodie Benson because Little Mermaid was her favorite movie, and so when she came by and she sung the song, she started crying.
Wow, that's nice.
That was beautiful. Yeah. Also, Jodie Benson even wrote a book about her experiences working on Little Mermaid. And also, guess what it's called? Part of Your World. Well, part of my world, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah,
I love this. I love this song.
It fits really well with the movie. I would say in some parts you can take it out of context, like the whole, flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Like, you can't really sing that outside of something because you already know that it's from Little Mermaid, but it's a song about wanting more. And that would probably be like the catalyst for songs that would come out of Disney over the next decade. Like we talked about earlier with Beauty and the Beast, in which Belle wants more than just her provincial town. Moana, where she wants more than just the island that she's living in. Hercules, where he wants more than just being this clumsy kid. He wants to be able to...
world. You can probably make a case for all of them.
Yes, I mean, this is the one that pretty much started it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's influential for a lot of people for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
This is high A.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, now we can go over to another Pixar film, Toy Story, with You Got a Friend in Me.
Toy Story. Me and Patty just recently watched Toy Story like a week or two ago.
Yeah, we saw all 4 Toy Story movies.
Which, surprisingly, I hadn't seen the 4th one.
Aaron and I saw the 4th one when it came out in theaters.
I got lost somewhere, and I guess I thought I watched the 4th one, and I never did.
Yeah. You didn't like it.
I didn't love it, that's for sure, yeah. I know this sounds so, like, dumb, but, like, the integrity of keeping all of them together, I didn't love the ending. The story was fine. It kind of went along with a lot of the other Toy Story, like, themes.
Yeah.
And that was okay. I just didn't like the way it ended, even though maybe for a lot of people it felt like a new beginning or a new opportunity or, like,
Yeah.
To me, it just kind of... I didn't love it. I would have rather them kind of stay together. They've been together over 20 years. They're a family.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also really, like, a small piece, hated that he lost his little voice box along the way, or his little...
Yeah, he lost the voice box to give it to...
And I know that was sweet of him, but it kind of, like, bothered me.
Sure. And also, you didn't like Forky.
I didn't like Forky. I didn't understand. Like, I get it was cute, whatever, but... I don't know.
I'm trash.
Yeah, like, I think it distracted from what could have been better.
Okay. But let's talk about the first movie, because that's what we're talking about. So, You Got a Friend in Me, the song that has been in all the Toy Story movies.
It's, like, quintessential to the movie. Like, you hear that, and I dare you not to think of Toy Story.
No, you immediately think Toy Story when you hear... You got a friend in me. You know it immediately. Yeah.
I mean, whoa. Like, so to me, like, that is... a job well done. Like, you have created a song that immediately like flashbacks to one of the Toy Stories or an experience that's related to the Toy Story.
Yeah.
And it's like this song almost cannot stand apart from that. Like your mind goes there. So the composers did their job really well.
Randy Newman did a really good job with this.
Yeah. What I also really liked about it too is like it's talking about like the development of a child and his friendship with these toys and the life that they live. And so like this song is perfect because it taps into like, you know, that friendship that they have.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this, once again, is that this song won the Oscar for Best Original Song, and also the movie won for Best Original Score and for Best Original Screenplay, and it was selected for preservation in the Library of Congress.
Whoa.
Yeah. They only do that for, like, films that they consider to be culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it is significant.
Mm-hmm. This is high tier.
I agree.
Top 3 easily. So
for me, I would probably put it. I mean, I have my little list of. I'm curious. I would say it was top 10, but I'm curious if my past self agreed. Mm-hmm. Let's see if my past self agreed.
Yeah. You take a look into your past self. Hello from week ago. Do you agree with what I said about what I would put this on the list?
I put a top 10.
Okay, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So we got Nightmare Before Christmas.
And I was telling Patty, I feel kind of like unqualified or like to kind of speak too much into this because aside from the fact that I don't really know very much, I don't really like this movie very much.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
Like I feel very biased because it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, obviously, but I've seen it once or twice and I just wouldn't really want to watch it again. And I don't really like it too much.
That's fair. That's
fine. I don't really like the music with it too much either.
I
think it goes well, and I think it serves the purposes it needs to.
Yeah, the purpose of this is that Jack Skellington, who lives in Halloween Town, had now just stumbled into Christmas Town, and this is the first time he's seeing what Christmas is. But again, it's not standalone-ish. You can't play it, like, for a particular, like, moment where people will be, like, listening to this. So, I mean, I would say that this is one of my least favorite in this list. I wouldn't put this in the list. I would put in This Is Halloween as one of my favorites, or Sally's Song would have been a great one to put on the list as well, or maybe one of the songs from the end when Jack was singing about his lament. But yeah, this one I probably wouldn't have added into it. So I'm going to put it in like a low C.
I'm gonna put it in the D category.
Oh, really?
I'm not interested. I don't want to hear it. I don't really like it.
Okay.
It doesn't stick to me. Like, it's just not my jive. Like, it's not where I'm at.
That's fine. All right, so we go over to the next song, and this is the only song that was featured in Encanto that was on the list. And you already know what it is because everybody knows what it is. We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah, I think this had such a cult following around it. Like, if we're talking about pop culture, there was so many memes, so many, like, filters, so many things on Instagram where people were recreating, like, parts of the movie and singing certain parts.
Yeah.
Even in our own family, like, we had family members that were obsessed, and they created their own videos with certain parts of this movie.
Remember.
I liked the movie. I think me and Patty have talked about that there's certain parts of it I don't love. Again, like, I don't love endings that don't always have, like, a happy ending. Like, I love a lot of movies, and I can deal with movies that don't have happy endings. Like, yeah. I'm fine. But when we're talking about Disney or Pixar, like, this is the realm where, like, I want happy endings to exist. Yeah. And for a lot of people, it was a happy ending. It is for me, too. But the fact that she didn't get the, like, definitive powers was not something I loved. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, the music was great. The movie's good. The song is fun and interesting, and you like it. Yeah, and it's well done. This is the second time that Lin-Manuel Miranda was brought back to do the music for a Disney film. He knocked it out of the park. Yeah, I mean, this man's a genius. Yeah, he did 4 movies in 2021. He did this movie.
He did In the Heights, which is based off of another one of his shows.
Which we liked. We watched and we liked it.
Yeah, it was really good. Mm-hmm. I have not seen Tick Tick Boom.
Me neither.
And Vivo, I've heard about.
I've seen it. It's cute.
Okay, I have not seen Vivo. I would say out of all the music from Lin-Manuel, like with Moana and with Encanto, both of them are really good.
Yeah, agreed. I think Encanto is really good.
Yeah, although this is the song that was not nominated for the Oscar. It was Dos Oruguitas that was nominated for the Oscar.
I think maybe also too, like, maybe they knew that it was going to be good. They knew that it was going to be impactful, but maybe they didn't know.
They had no idea.
I didn't think they had any idea, like, how trendy and how catchy it would turn out to be and how, like, the impact it would have on people.
Yeah. Let me read off some of the things that it did, shall we? It was Mark Disney's first #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 and the very first song ever to do so on the UK singles charts. It's the first Disney film to have a #1 song and a #1 album. Not even Frozen did that.
Wow.
Imagine that. Frozen wasn't able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh man, this is going to be hard to say about where this ranks up because everything about it definitely feels like something that Lin-Manuel Miranda did, especially in that when your favorite song from Hamilton, in which you have the sisters were able to like sing together about like their relationship between Alexander, about how it was in terms of they loved him and they know that they're off, the relationship is over, so it definitely feels akin to that almost.
Yeah, I think again, like, it's sometimes hard to judge things without bias, and so biasly speaking, I love this movie, I love this music and song, but it just can never compete for me in the way that my childhood movies do.
Okay.
So if we were kind of like, if this was like something more legitimized and we were comparing certain things, then fine, I gotta try to put my bias out of it. But since this is opinion based,
okay.
I'm gonna stick with, I love it, it's good, but it's gonna live in like a low A for me, B. It doesn't make my list.
I would put it in A. Well, the good news is we're halfway done.